President Trump leaves for Turkey tonight for the annual NATO summit. The president is set to meet with allies that Trump has chastised for insufficient support in the Iran war and defense spending. The war with Iran and the Ukraine-Russia war will be two main topics as President Trump is set to meet with Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky. So I want to bring in Leo Shane, a defense reporter for Politico. So, Leo, what do you make of this summit? What do you expect to see, and what does the U.S. hope to accomplish?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of conversation again about how much of a role Europe has in its own defense. This has been a major theme of the Trump presidency. He wants to see more defense spending from European governments. He wants to see fewer U.S. troops in Europe itself. So I think we're going to see a lot of conversation from the European side about the amount they have invested, about $120 billion in new defense spending this year. And really that emphasis on that they are taking that role, but that they don't want to see the U.S. completely withdraw. As you mentioned, there's going to be a lot of conversation about Ukraine as well and what the U.S. role will be there. Europe is taking a larger role in supplying Ukraine with equipment, with training, but they don't want the United States to pull back completely from that. Whether or not Trump sees it as something that is useful to the United States remains to be seen. This has been a constant point of conflict for his administration. He thinks that NATO is an outdated artifice here, something that the United States doesn't need anymore, not getting a lot out of. So it's going to be incumbent on the Europeans to convince him that, hey, this is still an alliance that's worth being in and that the U.S. is getting a lot of benefit from this as well.
What are the main sticking points with the NATO allies, and where does the alliance stand?
Yeah, it's a tricky time for the alliance because, as I said, the administration really is questioning what the value is. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth last month talked about a NATO 3.0, a full review of what the U.S. relationship is with NATO, with what the relationship should be, and what the U.S. Troop levels and basing and commitment should be in Europe. So that's really what the point's going to be. One of the major sticking points is that war in Iran, the fact that there wasn't a lot of European support for U.S. actions there. There are several countries that Trump wanted to see more involved, either with giving more access to U.S. equipment or actually, sending out some fighter jets, sending out some bombs. And the European countries largely were opposed to that action. So that's a sore spot that I would expect the president to bring up again. Whether or not the European leaders who are there can sort of brush over that and instead emphasize the long-term benefits of NATO to the U.S., that'll be the real fighting point for them as we go ahead.
All right, Leo Shane. Leo, thank you.
Thank you.